Greetings, brothers and sisters. So I just want to do a brief introduction here. I want to get to a bunch of headlines. This is the spiritual gathering for gratefulness meditation, the Saj Marg meditation I've done for years that many of us are doing together here. I'm going to put a video up on my new channel. Again, people are writing me comments saying, why don't you put a link in the description box? Well, I did, right? Like you could easily look before you left a comment. I'm just saying, right? Like in terms of, I, as a creator, as a person who does this, I'm not very good socially, like I was explaining in my last video. And I don't like to mention things over and over again, whether it be my merch or whether it be subscriptions or make sure you check the notifications. Like that's your job. Like if you want to see my content, you have to work for it because YouTube doesn't make it readily available. I get comments all the time from people saying they lost my channel and YouTube isn't recommending it, and then they find it again. Well, you can bookmark it. There's bookmarks. I mean, it's very user friendly. On every browser, you can bookmark things. You can leave tabs open, and you can search and find my. It doesn't take that much effort to find my channels, all of them. And then in the description box, any of my videos, there's links to everything. Where you can find me on Instagram or you can find me on Facebook or any number of things, right? And, I can't do that for you. And and I'm not going to remind you and all these things because if you really want to listen to this content, you have to, participate in some way because that's what I have to do. Everyone has to do that. If you want to find things on the internet, they make it harder and harder for truthers to find truther stuff. That's how they're doing this. They're making the algorithms for search engines and everything else turn you away, steer you away from this kind of content. And so that's just the world we live in. And there's ways to combat it by bookmarking things, by learning to search using maybe different search engines, different browsers, whatever it is, right? And that's for each person to figure out. So anyways, I'm doing the spiritual gathering and great meditation. The energies returned. For those of you aware of that, I have a journey series coming out tomorrow. So I care less about this stuff than normal, but I'm going to cover it because, I got the time to do it, so I might as well crank out a video here. There's some, Crowder gave a message, and then I have a few comments from Crowder fans I want to address at the end of this video because, you knew there were going to be some. There always is. But anyways, let's get into these links that people sent me. I collect, I have these various links that are in different places. I have my Pockets of the Future message where I receive messages from my Pockets of the Future page on Facebook. And that's on one section of one browser. Then there's on the same browser, it's where I scroll through various news headlines and, I find information for myself. And then on my other browser, I have this channel and I have my Instagram page and my personal Facebook page is open there. And I get personal Facebook messages and also lots of Instagram messages. So this is where I get all these different, there are different places on my, these open tabs that I have. And so I haven't been able to get to these tabs that are on Facebook. And there are a lot of them are good ones or interesting ones or funny. So let me start off with that. Okay, so first let's start here. There's 853 people who have subscribed to my backup channel here, which I think that's a lot of people. Like I was realizing that's like if you had 853 people over your house, it'd be a lot of people, right? So that's good. But, I need 10,000 people to monetize this channel, and this is a backup channel. I'm going to, post some spiritual videos here as well or something. I just have to, So it's a long way from 10,000, but it's a, good start or whatever. And, when I start posting content here, maybe there'll be more. I don't know. We'll see about that. So here's the channel here. Gratefulness meditation. I'm using 2 L's. Somebody pointed this out. And it should be 1 L, but it's not a real word anyway. So I'm using 2 L's. Meditation. Oftentimes I leave out the T and it says mediation. But I remember to do that in Apocalypse at POTF. And so it's in every description box of every video I put out. You can find this channel. And, it's a good idea to subscribe if you want to stay in contact with me in case there's a situation where I get a community guidelines strike on both of my channels in the same week. It, probably is never going to happen, but it's been close to happening before, and then I can't post for a week. So I'll post things here, and you won't be able to find it because you didn't subscribe and you didn't bookmark this channel. Bookmarking is also important because they might unsubscribe you because that's how YouTube do. All right, so here are some things here. Hear what Kim Kardashian says changed about Trump. So this is, what's the guy's name? Don Lemon's former co-host, the one that Poppy Harlow, I think it's Poppy Harlow, who turned on him. So this must be the morning show without Don Lemons. We'll see how they do with that now.
You are always in the spotlight.
Yes, you are. You are. You're always in the spotlight.
And yet you care most about people who are never in the spotlight.
Yes, you do. That's who you care about. You're not superficial at all. You haven't reshaped your body in every possible way to look like something that isn't even human because you care about people who aren't famous. You're such a person that loves people who aren't famous.
You care most about people that we as a society have thrown away.
We've thrown away people. You care so much about those people.
And I wonder why that is.
Because I'm just an amazing person.
Experience.
I'm just an amazing person. Kim Kardashian. That's it. I'm an amazing person. I'm the best person. That's how caring I am. Just the best person in the world is all.
Maybe just life experiences, positive, negative. Becoming a mom, life changes you. I think you get to a point where you have experiences that just change you.
Changes, I've changed by my experiences. I had them and they affected me and now I'm a different person.
And when I met Alice, and I felt like it was a fairly easy experience for me when I know it shouldn't be, to help.
I want to free Alice Johnson. That's what I was going to do with my experiences and my brain, my lawyer brain that I have, a good brain. I have a good brain on my shoulders. And I figured I'd use that brain and my $1 billion to help free Alice Johnson because I've had experiences.
Get someone out. It takes 10, 20 years.
Even in a spiritual gathering, I can still mock them. Like I'm completely blissed out and I have no reason to be, like I'm in a good spiritual state. Like I just, I had great meditations last night, this morning. And, I just feel really good spiritually and I'm like filled with God's love and just whatever. And like I'm still like an asshole. Like even with all that, like I'm still mocking this, whatever person it is here.
To do what I did in 6 months. And I didn't realize the fight at that time.
6 months, it took me 6 months to free Alice Johnson. Let's get into the Trump thing here. There's just so much of this I can take here. There's these various things, execution. Here's Trump right here.
People would understand, and President Trump did understand once he started to hear these stories instead of just seeing their cases. And he went in being so pro-death penalty and really hard on crime to opening up his heart and realizing that so many people are inside that don't deserve to be and have completely rehabilitated themselves. And he passed a bill, the First Step Act, and I think almost 30,000 people have been let out because of the storytelling of one woman that changed his mind.
So you're saying Trump's a good guy?
So I think storytelling...
That Trump can be changed from his experiences or whatever. All right, well, let's move on here. Okay, so this is Judy Blume, and I'm not sure who she is. I've heard her name before. Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. That's the name of her book. And these guys are, these two guys I don't know about. That dude, that former football player, can't think of his name. But this woman and George Stephanopoulos are drooling all over her here.
And I happen to live in Key West, which...
Again, not ghoulish at all.
we deny is in that state. But the truth is, it is in Florida.
Michael Strahan.
We
The
have the same
backlash has been
governor.
just incredible.
It
Just incredible.
is terrible. We have to fight it.
But
We have to speak out, yell.
But there is, at the same time, a renaissance, a Judy Blume renaissance
This woman, she gets it.
upon us. Your books are being made to movies and to TV shows. There's even a documentary about you, finally. What made you decide to open up your life at this time?
Well, there aren't that many shows coming.
There should be. I'm putting it out there.
Wow, George, overreaction. Wow. Tone it down, bro. Like,
How it goes, right?
whoa.
But
The documentary, though, is happening, Judy.
the documentary is out there right now. It's hard for me to talk about it because that's me
Yeah.
up on the screen. It's like, what? Who is she really?
Ghoul.
But I think they did a very caring job. And the two things that I like best about it are that they deal
That it's about me and, and I.
with the letters from the kids.
All right. Please note the post-apocalyptic fiction section has been moved to current affairs. This is an actual sign somebody put up in a bookstore. So this is a funny thing that happened in Trump world.
You saw yesterday, he had the cue card. He said, call this one. This is what she's going to ask, and here's the answer. They never did that with me in the White House, I can
I just can't, now the fish boy thing is just always there.
tell you. On Tuesday, Joe Biden officially announced that he will seek 4 more disastrous years in the White House. As you know, I've done very well against crooked Hillary Clinton, but today I'm going to do this, and I think this could be maybe the most important part of what I'm going to say, because this is going to be a
There's a fish boy thing.
major announcement. Are you ready? Is everybody ready?
You just can't not see it.
I will be retiring the name Crooked from Hillary Clinton and her moniker. And I'm going to give her a new name. I don't know, like maybe Lovely Hillary or Beautiful Hillary. But I'm going to retire the name Crooked so that we can use the name for Joe Biden, because he'll be known from now on as Crooked Joe Biden.
Woo! Makes total sense. Woo! It's kind of funny. This is what, I enjoyed about Trump's presidency and Trump as a president, fish boy, because of this kind of stuff, right? But now it's just played out. But it's kind of funny. This is, a little bit funny because, it's a kablamo to Hillary. Like, Hillary's so irrelevant that Trump's going to call her Lovely Hillary. Like, she has, her relevancy is so much so that Trump is removing the crooked part because he doesn't have to do that anymore. And that kind of sucks for her. Biden cheat sheet shows he had advanced knowledge of journalists' questions. They did this with Hillary, the DNC, when she bailed them out financially, and that this is the interim, Donna Brazile, the interim person who took over for whatever that lady's name was, Debbie Wasserman Schultz. And she had made a deal that she would get the questions to the debates ahead of time and Bernie Sanders wouldn't. So, of course, that's happening. Skiing shock. Pavel Kortov, dead at 30, world champion skier, dies of brain hemorrhage. I'm going to cover these things without talking about causes, but you guys all know the causes, or at least some of them. Stephen Shanks, that's not a great name if you end up in prison, but I guess Kim Kardashian could help you. London marathon runner dies on his way home from race. That happens a lot where athletes overexert themselves. He's from Nottinghamshire, died suddenly while traveling home on Sunday. And their heart gives out after over exercising and, overstrain on their hearts. This has happened quite often lately. Okay, so the caption to this tweet is that you ever play the flute so hard that your pants fall down? And there they go. She's playing the flute like, look at him go. Look at him. There, the guy's dancing up a storm behind her. And then, all right, I got to pull my pants back up because I was playing the heck out of that flute. Incredible footage was taken today as an unusual and exceptional rare meteorological phenomenon known as crown flash was captured in Miami Beach sky. So you see this here. There's a lot of wind noise, so I'm not using the volume. But there's these flashing lights. I mean, it's almost like a spotlight up there. And, it's moving around almost like it's got consciousness. And there's some rainbow stuff, chemtrail-like stuff up there. But, it doesn't look like it's happening organically. It looks like something is manipulating the light up there. But I've been watching the sky lately, and especially at night, really only at night. During the day there's been some things, but, and there's weird stuff. There's a couple of red planets or big red stars up there, and I just been feeling like there's something going on, which, whatever. That's my professional analysis. This is just another aspect of that. This is the one Stephen J. Crowder who
I commented on my ongoing divorce on Tuesday, requesting privacy in the best interest of the family, but also by court order agreed upon by all parties. Look, broken marriages are ugly, and in them people do ugly things. Myself, of course included, I would never claim otherwise. However, due to recent misleadingly edited leaks to the tabloid press without context and not subject to consequences of the court, well, if not privacy, the next best option is truth.
Did he do the lettering here?
So today, I have filed a motion to officially unseal all files as they relate to the matter of legal record. Finances, relevant medical records, including mental health history or evaluations, depositions, and any motions or sanctions from the courts of Texas. I will not be leaking private marital information to the press, but if the privacy agreements are not respected by all parties, I will address all that is a matter of irrefutable legal record in full context next week.
Okay, so I never liked this guy, so for me it's not a thing. But there are some people who saw my video yesterday that were very upset at me. At least one person left a comment, and there are people who are defending this guy, right? And I'll read the comment and I'll explain. I don't know if I have to, but I don't know. I'll enjoy doing it, so... So my wife sent me this. This is Switzerland, and there's some demon that's eating kids. This is a part of culture around the world. It's just been there. And here it is. And so I started watching this movie called, I forgot already what it is. It's called Moonraker. It's right here. I don't know why I didn't see it. And there's, I started watching it because I'd seen it years and years ago as a kid. And there's a character named Jaws who's this 7'2", monster who's always attempting to beat up the very effeminate, whatever the actor's name, it'll come to me in a moment, Roger Moore. Roger Moore is very effeminate and very, he's a chap, right? Elitist, right? They love their spies there. And Jaws had a small girlfriend that he meets named Dolly. And I saw this at the movie theater. I'd seen the previous movie, which I think was called The Spy Who Loved Me, that Jaws was a part of that movie as well, right? And it's a horrible movie. I was fast forwarding through this. And I told my wife about it because she saw it. And she goes, there's this controversy that Jaws' girlfriend wore braces. And I'm like, yeah, of course she did. I saw the movie, right? And so me and my wife and millions of other people remember seeing this movie either at home or in the movie theater. And there are two scenes, the first of which is here. And so this girl comes up, this is where they meet, and she's much shorter than him. And he's going to smile with his Jaws teeth. This is why they call him Jaws, because he has metal teeth. And then she's going to look at him. And she's going to, look at him and see some kind of potential, I don't know, boyfriend. He smiles. And she smiles back. And those of us who saw braces, there's millions of us, right, who remember her having braces. And the official story says that we're all misremembering collectively, right? Like millions of people, when they remember this scene and saw this movie, they remember Jaws' girlfriend had braces. And those of us who saw braces, it makes sense, right? That she had braces and he had braces, and she had like heavy duty braces. And because of that, it made her, like they had something in common. And it makes sense that that would be the joke, right? But somewhere along the line, it disappeared. Her braces aren't there. People attribute this to Mandela effect, whatever it is, right? But my wife and I were like, we had sure that we saw it. Lots of people, there are people who talk about in comments that they made a song about it. There's something, the Jaws character is the only thing I remember from this movie. And at the end of it, they're in the space shuttle and they're levitating. There's no gravity in the space shuttle, allegedly. And then the Queen and the President tune into James Bond because he just rescued, and he's being the effeminate Roger Moore's banging one of these bimbos, with a blanket around them, and they're levitating. Those are the two things I remembered as a kid. Jaws and all the other things I was going through this movie. Horrible movie, ridiculously bad, right? But that's what I remember. And this, I remember this love interest, and she had braces. And so, what's happened here, because she was asked, and she said she never wore braces in the scene. The actress, it's been well documented. I don't know if they had the equipment to edit it out, and why would they? Because, this is a movie that's not, it's a horrible James Bond movie, and it's pretty much forgotten, other than this controversy. This is the other scene here. And he smiles at her, and she smiles at him. And, she's got the Pippi, lawn stockings, ponytails or whatever. But what would be funny is if she had also these braces. It's very interesting, to think about why so many of us remember it in a way that it didn't happen, right? But for us, it did. Our experience was she had braces. And I saw this, as a kid. Moonraker was from 1979. So I must have been in high school. I remember being younger, but I was in high school, so it wasn't even that long ago for me. And I thought I saw it when I was younger, but whatever. There's an earlier James Bond was a little kid called Goldfinger. I remember nothing from the movie. I didn't really see it. My parents were watching it. But I saw this one scene in which a Goldfinger was, let's stop this so I don't get a copyright thing here. There's no way Roger Moore could, like this guy's a monster. But there was this was when Sean Connery played James Bond, I believe. And Goldfinger painted a woman gold, and she died because her pores couldn't breathe. And I remember seeing that scene, and my neighbors across the street, one of my friend's older brothers who he was twisted. I went over to their house, and he was spray painting all these like worms and bugs, with spray paint to prove the Goldfinger theory wrong. And I was like, that's kind of cruel. Like, I'm like, I don't think it works that way. And it seems like kind of you're hurting all these insects and worms and stuff. But anyways, Georgia man has been jailed for 10 years without trial. Well, that's, we saw what happened at Georgia prison. Okay, I just went outside. I'm working on a pond. I built this pond with a stream in it. I want to show a video of it. And I don't know, hopefully I will. I say things like that. But I have all these videos that I have on my phone that I've never turned into a video here. But, I built this pond, and it is a stream. It's sort of a winding, it's a little stream with a little waterfall, just a small thing. And our cows destroyed it. And so I've been working on it, and the spiritual condition kicked in from this morning's meditation. I was already feeling, blissed out. It's not experiential in that way. It's not supposed to be about bliss or happiness or something like that, but those are side effects. There's an intoxication to the transmission of the system of meditation I do. and there's this gathering going on. It's a nice day outside. It's been cold here, but now it's like weather's turning. I want to get some things done outside. But I just don't care about it. Like, it's just, I don't care about the stuff I cover most of the time. I mean, these are controversial issues, and I just don't care. I want to read this Crowder comment. But one thing that I was thinking about when I was outside was that probably the biggest issue for me now with humanity is everybody who wants to force their beliefs, and they just know they're right because they just know they're right. And you see it with the left because they have more power now, but it's always been there in the right. The right-wing people have always wanted to force themselves in their beliefs, and they were able to do it before, and now they're on the other side of the power dynamic, where the liberals, and whatever you want to call this, has the imaginary power that's pushing humanity in this direction. The social media giants and all these other corporate entities, the media, and everything else. But this idea that you know better and you want to force your opinion and beliefs on somebody else, and that's a plague on humanity. It's a big problem in the truth community, and I just, it's not for me. Like I present information here. I care about some of it more than other parts of it, but it's always fluid, and it's not really all that important to me because I know the system's collapsing, and I know that it's really not going to affect the system because it's already like in automatic mode, right? There are times where your choices are having a profound or immediate effect on your environment, and your choices do have an effect on your soul and you as a person, but our choices aren't really going to do anything to stop the system from collapsing or expedite it. I mean, we might be able to expedite it, but whatever. Like, it's in automatic mode. But let's move to the comment here. There was one comment where a person said, the craziest part is the Crowder thing. About the Crowder thing is how many people are defending him. And I knew that would happen because it always happens, right? Just like with the Dalai Lama. Because people are not, aware of when it's time to just shut up and, realize how this looks or how it is, all of that. But this person writes, you're pretty judgy for someone who hasn't done their research before making a video. I'm pretty judgy. I'm no fan of Crowder. Yes, you are. Like, you're trying to give yourself more credibility. I'm no fan of Crowder. I'm just a fan of fair play. I just want to make things even. In fact, I hate the M&F-er. I dislike him, but you've crossed the line there, bucko. And I'm just here to police the internet and tell you you've crossed the line of this guy I care nothing about, right? And it isn't that you're upset about what I said about Crowder or the behavior. You're upset because you like Crowder and making fun of your choices and who you are as an individual. And that's what you're upset about. None of this other stuff that you're saying here is the point. You are being mocked for your stupidity for following this D-bag. And then the person says this. Let's go back to it. You're pretty judgy for someone who hasn't done their research before making a video. I'm no fan of Crowder, but you sound like an a-hole. I'm not, saying I don't. Right? Crowder is no liberal. This is a private conversation with his wife and him, and she released it illegally. How do you know? Like, well, if you're no fan of Crowder, you did an awful lot of research trying to disprove that this is anyway making him look like a real D-bag. But here's the problem here. Now, this is a divorce, and it's one-sided, and Crowder says it's edited, but he admits that he looks bad. And, we know he's like this because he is like this on his show. But what I was saying was, he says he's a conservative, but he is very liberal. He looks like a liberal metrosexual. Apparently he comes from Canada. I wish I didn't know. And the guy is very artsy and theatrical. The few things I've seen from Crowder is a while back he dressed up like a woman and went to a Planned Parenthood place and was getting an abortion. And the nurse was going to go through with it, right? Even though he clearly was sexually a man, right? or something like that. And, I found it mildly entertaining and humorous, but, goofy, like unnecessary. You could tell the guy really is theatrical. He liked dressing up like a woman. And he's gone to some sort of, like he's a trained actor or something, right? He has some professional training. I mean, he may be disinfo, he may be a shill, whatever it might be. I don't know. But he's somebody who's trained in the theatrical arts, and he really likes attention. And, he's sort of a shock jock, kind of a whatever, right? And he's very effeminate. And so he may say he's a conservative, and yeah, whatever, but he's very obsessed with like gay people and other things, and all this other stuff that's going on. And a way that you can see that he's, like Will Smith in it. But when I said he was like a liberal, or he came off like a liberal person, it wasn't his beliefs. It's the kind of type of person he is. And so many people agreed in the comments. And most people who watch my stuff don't like Crowder. I only got one comment defending him because, he's not a truther. He's not anything. He's just some right-wing person, who's looking for attention, and he's got a pretty good following. I don't know what he does money-wise, or his the amount of people, but there's going to be some people who follow him because there are a lot of right-wing dopes out there, and they're going to follow him and they're going to defend him, and I don't care about it. It doesn't matter to me. Like I'm not looking for him to go down, or I'm sure he does that on his own. I don't care. I find the whole thing funny, but the guy, is the guy in the video, controlling and weird. Part of me thinks it might be staged, that him and his ex-wife put this thing together, because I think about 5 to 10 comments where people said, I never heard of this guy before. And so this is good publicity for him. And I bet he comes out on the end of this thing with either more followers or more money or something, because it's good publicity. It'll galvanize his support and all these other things. So, I don't even know if this is a real, I don't know if this guy is real. I don't think he is. Like he's, possibly controlled, whatever. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. Like there's all these people out there. Just all this stuff on the internet. I don't watch him. And, maybe he's done some damage to the overall truth community, but there's always going to be some right-wing dopes out there that are going to be, social media dopes that are going to attract the right-wing dopes to, or shills or whatever it is, just like with the QB thing. It's not going away, and we just all have to deal with it like it's a sort of like hold your nose part of the truth community, right? Something's gone rotten and stinks and stupid, and the QBs, and they just won't wise up or figure things out, but we all just have to accept it and move on. But for me, the biggest reveal is everybody who's gotten these Ring security systems, or even the doorbell cam, you're being spied on all the time, right? We all are, but this is like PP Tom's type stuff, right? I mean, they're tracking us, they're collecting our data. Maybe they have an open microphone, or some hidden camera in your phone or whatever. I mean, you're being spied. We saw this with the Snowden movie. They were turning on people's cameras without the people watching, knowing about it, without the light coming on. So there was a scene in the Snowden movie where these guys, this guy was showing Snowden how he turned on a camera, and there was this Muslim woman in her bedroom, and she started to strip off her clothing, and she was unaware she was being spied on by some internet, geek. It worked for the CIA or whatever it was, right? And so, this is a part of our reality. We don't think about it, but he was out there being douchey, thinking he was in the privacy of his own home, but he was, he gave access to Amazon, and whether he leaked this himself or, whatever, his wife, whatever this thing happened, he perpetrated this thing on himself, right? Whether it's staged or not or whatever, who cares? But it's a good thing to know that, with everybody having a cell phone, there's that. But then all the other cameras and all the things that are around, that you should consider yourself pretty much being spied on 100% of the time. Like you could be walking around, and I mean, I've seen too many ads pop up on my Facebook page when my wife and I are having a private conversation, and then the next day, something we were talking about, we're walking around the pasture where there's nothing. You know, we're out in the country, and all I have my cell phone on me, and the next day on my Facebook feed, something pops up, right? I mean, that's the world we live in. And at some point, you know, so they might hold you accountable. You're sitting there at some FEMA camp with somebody holding a tablet and going through your social media and all the things that they've gathered from you, and they pull out, you know, these little indiscretions of things that you said that paints you as one person or another, you know, an off-color joke or something that's, you know, socially unacceptable. And, you know, they're using that to you know, give you the raw deal you're about to have to accept. Yeah, let's end on that note. Only spirituality will save this world. It's paramount, definitely important for the apocalypse and the ascension. Everyone have a blessed day and be grateful.